I am beyond sick of this. As Habs prospect Ivan Demidov, after being named one of the KHL Players of the Month, being named the KHL Rookie of the Month, plays only 6 shifts, just over 4 minutes, playing on the 4th line, and gets benched for the entire 3rd period in his most recent games. Habs fans are absolutely outraged at coach Roman Rottenberg. We got to get into that and some Habs insiders' opinions on this whole situation. Plus, Jesse, Patrik Laine revealed some details about his knee injury and how he elected not to get surgery, plus a nice little note on Joshua Roy. All that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And we're just going to jump straight into Joshua Roy first. Now, there was an article written by Stu Cowan for the Montreal Gazette today, and it's linked down below. As always, please go check it out. And there were some interesting quotes that I wanted to take from this as well, because let's be honest, Joshua Roy has impressed us all. He is kind of the guy that we're de facto putting into that second line spot to replace Laine already. And while it could be someone else, I think a lot of us would really like to see Joshua Roy. But let's dive into some of the quotes. There's a lot of great stuff in this article talking about his background, this and that, but it's the current quotes from Marty and David Savard that I wanted to bring up. So first off, we're going to head over here. Marty said Joshua was always ready for what's next. He doesn't kill the play, he's playing the game. Marty's favorite thing is when you play your game in that game. It's time to chip a puck. He'll do that. You can see he's got poise to buy time and hit the guy who's going to be free. He lets the play evolve. And David Savard had some big praise too, saying, I think he's more and more comfortable every game. You see him making more plays, better reads. He's still really young, but he's just making good plays. You want players like that on the ice. The praise just never seems to end for Joshua Roy, Jesse. And as the days go by, we start to feel Kapainen's going to make this team. We start to feel that Hudson's going to be second pairing. We start to feel Joshua Roy is going to get that top role, as his improvement year over year has been one of the most impressive things.
And it's just a question now of how big of a steal this 5th rounder is going to be. We saw last year 4 goals in 23 games. Josh, I don't think it's unreasonable for Joshua Roy to have a 20-goal season this year coming up. That's, because he's playing on the PP, that's the maturity. Obviously playing on the second line, playing with the Dach, playing with the new hook can't help. I don't think that it's out of the question. He's definitely going to have some things going his way to make it happen. But do I believe he can take that leap? Yes, absolutely. But it's not just his work with the puck, as he mentioned, but off of it. What's so funny about Marty on his take like that, he's actually so right. Like, if you want to be one step ahead of the game when watching, is like always look where the puck isn't, because that's where the puck's going to be, right? So we see a little bit of Marty's insight of why he likes to really watch the game in this type of way. And again, it's somebody with so much attention to detail. Again, that common theme coming up with Habs players like Connor Bedard, right? Said that Joshua Roy at the point in time was one of the smartest players that he's ever played with. They were partners at the World Junior Championships. So again, this player, he's just continuing to climb. And now we're starting to have those expectations kind of going up a little bit further. I'm curious to see what Habs fans are really expecting from him this year and what they think he will do.
I think the big thing too is how Joshua Roy has responded when he's needed to respond with a jump in skill, right? And there was some talk in the article of, he was the first overall pick in the QMJHL draft, started to kind of disappoint a bit. He started to coast on skill, realized he couldn't do it anymore, slipped to the 5th round of the draft, then proceeded to work his butt off and put up a 50-goal season, and he's only improved year upon year since then. He was phenomenal. He was one of the top scorers in the AHL for a large chunk of last year. There's some great stuff to come with Joshua Roy, but let us know down below your thoughts on him and whether you think he'll be that great fill-in for the second line. But we're going to quickly move on, Jesse, to Patrik Laine. Now, this is I want to say surprising, because I think it kind of is. I didn't expect this. We heard he was out with a sprain. It was like, okay, that's great news. But we also were wondering, why did it take so long? And I think some of those details, they were finally revealed by Patrik Laine himself, as at the media availability. They're all heading up to Montreal right now. They're having a ton of fun. We're seeing them all signing autographs, great stuff. But Patrik Laine spoke in the media availability. Yes, this picture is from that media availability, looking comfy as anything. Love that pink hat. I saw a couple of doctors, got some good opinions, but at the end of the day, it was my call to make. Whatever we want to do, the team and everybody else gave me all the help with that, and at the end of the day, decided not to do surgery and just to rehab and let it heal. And he goes on to say that, yeah, I mean, it's my knee after all. It's just one of those, it could go either way. And this is a bit interesting to me, Jesse. So this seems to me to indicate, well, we know it's not just seems to me. It's pretty obvious now that surgery was an option, which, look, I'm not going to speculate on the medical side of things. I don't know, but it tells me that maybe there was a partial tear or something. That's usually what you'll have when you have, surgery versus no surgery, but it could be a bunch of different things, right? It could be no tear at all. But very interesting that they decided to go for this rehab way of doing it. And unless I'm mistaken, Jesse, Connor McDavid actually had a similar pathway with an injury at one point. He decided for rehab, and Patrik Laine has kind of taken that same pathway. And the one thing is, you need to make sure that you're not going to rush him back after something like this, but is shortening the timeline. He'll get back on the ice sooner. And if he really buys into this rehab, like from what I've seen, from what I've heard, and from what I've seen NHL players do, this could actually really benefit him long term.
And it's so nice to see that Patrik Laine making this decision. It's really showing that he wants to play.
Yeah.
He's having fun in Montreal. It's a positive environment. That was all it's about. This was his decision. He didn't need to go about this way. And you could understand him maybe being in another world, like a little bit more hesitant. You've had a bunch of injuries. Okay, let's just make sure that we get this right so that when I'm good, it's good to go. It says a lot about him. And it also says about his willingness to be part of the team here in Montreal. Earlier on, this isn't an option he needed to go by, but for me, it's extremely telling. And also about the organization, Josh, what I like about this, like, it's not all the time where players are given that decision-making ability from the organization, whether to have surgery or not. We don't have to go too far back to look at Jack Eichel, his situation with the Sabres. You know, it wasn't his decision of whether to have surgery or not. In fact, that's what led, to the departure there. So just really interesting to see from him. And even like Patrik Laine just being a total class act about the situation, giving a little bit more clarity into what happened with, Poirier, like him reaching out to him afterwards and kind of like apologizing and, Laine not throwing the blame and everything else like that and saying he didn't feel like it was intentional to try and injure him. So the big thing for Laine right now is he's saying like, he's looking to stay positive. And I think that that's not only so important for Patrik Laine, but also this very young Habs team, because when you're young, it's a little bit easy to get rattled. A couple of those injuries kind of early on, and you have those high hopes and everything. So it's about staying positive. And you have to feel like him being this way is also going to help this young team as well, just to kind of stay the course to our man's back in December.
Staying positive, showing you got good character. And yeah, I mean, it's great that Cedric Poirier reached out to him as well. And as we said on the show, like, I'm sure Poirier did not mean to hit him. Was it a bit of an irresponsible play by him? Yeah, I agreed. And Laine but even admits himself, Laine himself is like, I put myself in a bit of a precarious situation. Again, I still think that's something that happens in most games, what Laine was trying to do. But I digress. It's cool that, like you said, see him not shift the blame, say, hey, you know what? He reached out, all's good. Really happy to see that. And very interesting on the injury side of it as well. But Jesse, we got to get into what Habs fans are all clamoring about today. This is the big thing today. My gosh, I'm just sick of it. Honestly, like, I am absolutely sick of Ivan Demidov not getting the playing time he deserves. But you know what? We're going to try and stay positive, but with an update like this is one of the few times, Jesse, where I do find it tough. Because, as you can see, this part on Twitter, you can go look on Twitter for all this stuff. This just happened to be taken from Habs on Reddit on Twitter. On Tuesday, Ivan Demidov was named one of the KHL Players of the Month, KHL All-Rookie Team, KHL Rookie of the Month. He played on the fourth line today, was benched for most of the game by SKA coach Roman Rottenberg. Jesse, he played just over 4 minutes of ice time. He only had 6 shifts. And Roman Rottenberg was questioned about this. And this is a big quote. I'll just take some of the big parts of it. He basically says, Dynamo Moscow, very strong opponent. It's a close game. They're a strong team. Any mistake, any loss, board battle, whatever can lead to a tough situation. If we want to cement our defense, everyone must fulfill that assignment. Doesn't matter what someone's last name is. We need to play for the team. I'm sure that Ivan's developing. He plays with a lot of us. He trains with great players who have won cups, Gagarin Cups, Stanley Cups, Olympic gold. He has a lot to learn. But Ivan Demidov is like one of the top scorers on the team, Jesse. He's up there in the top 3 or 4 in like pretty much every offensive advanced metric for the team. One of the KHL Players of the Month, KHL Rookie of the Month. He had a 4-point game. It's not just us that are freaking out. Grant McCagg was not having a good time, and we know Grant is never shy to say his emotions. He said he's not going to watch anymore. It's a waste of time. And he says something not so nice about if he sees Rottenberg again. You can pause and read that if you want. I'm not going to read that out loud on the show. However, Jesse, Habs fans are absolutely sick of this. Demidov has proven time and time again how good he is. To be up there in the top 3, but coming into this game, he was only 1 point behind the team leader in points, and he was getting 12 minutes a game with no power play time. He hasn't played power play since super early in the season, like preseason. I don't know. I'm frustrated today, and this is not something that we usually try and do, because usually we try and spin a positive, but, Habs fans are calling for him to come over to North America ASAP, probably for good reason.
And the fact that he is on an expiring contract is definitely a reason why Ivan Demidov is not getting his full due in terms of ice time. There is a little bit of salt there, contrary to what, Roman Rottenberg does have to say on this situation. On the other hand, it is true. It is a fair point to say that many a 20-year-old in the KHL just sit on the bench for the entire game. So the fact that Ivan Demidov is getting power play time, as an 18-year-old is saying a lot, but also his production saying a lot as well, right? There's just such a huge variance in his ice time. He's averaging between 7 and 14 minutes a night. We just never know what we're going to get, from him. Either he's going to be on the ice or we're going to see him, so sparingly use his ball. But like for a player that's on pace for 27 goals, 27 assists on a team that really needs the offense, you think that you'd be kind of using this player a little bit more for the overall betterment of the team. That being said, we know Ivan Demidov, he is playing amazing, having a 0.8, per game, point percentage right now is absolutely unreal. And guess what, Habs fans? Ivan Demidov is absolutely lights out on the power play, especially exactly what this team really needs to improve. He is a master. He's working that bumper spot a little bit, being a great playmaker in that position. But for me, it's his detail, doing a little bit of everything. Like it's his hockey sense, it's his natural skill, but I would have to say it's that willingness. It's like, for me, he's doing all the right things, and the fact that he's still not getting that ice time, it's a little bit frustrating. We do need to keep that in the greater overall context of they know that he's going to be leaving pretty soon. He's a young guy where they don't play much in the KHL, but for sure we want to see him with a little bit more chance to get on the ice.
Yeah, like when he's getting those chances on the power play, which I don't even know, like the last time, I think it's been at least a few games now because he just hasn't been playing for some reason. But like when he's getting those chances, you're right, Jesse, he looks so good. And like when he's getting the ice time, he's generating chances like crazy. And that's the positives to take out of this. I don't know, fourth line minutes I could deal with, 4 minutes a night. When even the fourth line had a face-off, there was one time it was in I think a neutral zone, and he wasn't even out there to be on the ice during the face-off. And there's just times where you're like, I mean, why not? I mean, I know SK was winning this game, I think by a decent bit, so maybe you're like, oh, you bench him then. But I think that's the best time to play your young guys, right? If you want to not play, I don't know. We can go all day about this, questioning Roman Rottenberg's credentials, what he's doing with Demidov. I'll leave that to you guys, I suppose. But let us know what your thoughts are on this whole situation down below in the comments, because I know a lot of you are probably pretty riled up as well. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're only 250 subscribers away. That's it. 250, and there's probably more than that watching this video right now. So if you want to help us hit 15,000, you're part of that just 250 people watching this video that haven't hit subscribe, hit the button down below. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.